Hi, and welcome to our visit to Wells Cathedral in the historic city of Wells in the county of Somerset. We're in the southwest of England, in arguably the smallest city in England. You'll have to watch our video on Wells for more information on that, and of course I'll pop that up at the end. Whereas in the last video we got a glimpse of the cathedral, here we'll take a longer look. We're on a standard visitor's ticket, not an additional tour, and I'll put all the details in the description below. Of course, there is no charge for people who wish to come into the cathedral to pray, attend a service, or light a candle. So without further ado, let's take a look. Coming through the visitor's entrance, you arrive at the Cloisters, and immediately you get a sense of the age of this place of worship. Built in the 12th century, replacing an earlier church from 1705, but even that was on the site of a Roman structure. We arrive at the narthex, at the western end of Wells Cathedral. It's here that you get the first glimpse of the inside, the south aisle and the nave. The first thing that catches my attention is the scissor arches by the crossing. A slightly later addition, 14th century, created to reinforce the cathedral. And then you look up at the simple but breathtaking ceiling. You can also see the upper level of Wells Cathedral. The view along the nave to the scissor arch is so impressive. I've never seen one before that's this eye-catching. It almost looks like a much later style, possibly Art Deco, but what do I know? I get my first glimpse of Wells Cathedral's grand organ. Now, I'm not a deeply religious person, but there's no better sound than a cathedral organ being played in this environment. Unfortunately, there wasn't a recital during our visit. Maybe we'll return one day. One thing you're probably not going to miss is Wells clock, considered to be the second oldest clock mechanism in Britain, and probably the world, to survive in its original condition and still in use. The original clockworks were made about 1390, and the clock face is the oldest surviving original of its kind anywhere. Every quarter hour, jostling knights rush around the clock as it chimes. There's a linked clock face on the northern exterior wall that was added 70 years after the original was installed. Behind the north transept, where you'll find the clock, are the stairs that lead to the chapter house, and although it remains locked, over the chain gate to the Vicar's Hall and Vicar's Close. But we're here to see the chapter house, and you wouldn't want to miss this medieval masterpiece. Built in around 1286 to 1306. This was the strong room of the cathedral, where canons would meet to discuss cathedral affairs or conduct legal proceedings. Remember, this was a time when the church was the law for many. There are over 40 seats around the edge, so these gatherings would have been large. Also, the cathedral's oldest stained glass can be found here, above the entrance, dating from around 1290. One final look before we head back down, and we're going to slip into the Undercroft, where you can find more information on Wells Cathedral, plus some of the team of people that make it tick. I should now add, if you're enjoying this, give us a like, it really helps. And if you like my style of narrated videos, why not subscribe? Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future travels. We now step into the choir, and the thing that grabs your attention is the Jesse window. This stained glass masterpiece from around 1340 shows the family tree of Jesus Christ from Jesse, the father of King David. If we take a closer look, you can actually see the white wooden branches from an actual tree linking those figures together. Now a little magic to take a closer look. At the base we have the second transept, or retrochoir. However, when we spin around, we have that grand organ. The current organ dates from 1857, containing earlier pipework from 1786. It was enlarged in 1910 by Harrison and Harrison, and substantially rebuilt by them in 1973-74. Then we have the choir. Boys first sung in 1909. It wasn't until 1994 that girls were included to provide the beautiful sound that you have today. There are also visiting choirs, the chamber choir, and so much more music at Wells Cathedral. There'll be a link in the description with more details. As I mentioned earlier, there is a fee for visiting Wells Cathedral, but the ticket is valid for 12 months. So if, like us, you're in Wells for a couple of days, then make sure you pick it up straight away, and you can revisit during your stay. As we make our way towards the Lady Chapel, we come across a section of the original medieval flooring tiles. I thought the current flooring looked quite old. We've now reached the eastern end of the cathedral and the Lady Chapel, built in around 1310. A stroll back along the southern side and we come across the font. This is the oldest part of the church, although the cover dates from 1635. It's then up a flight of stairs to the chained library, originally from 1450, although the current bookshelves and chains are 17th century. We've now stepped out of the cathedral into the Palm Churchyard. As you can see, we have a typical English summer's day, and the pathway here links the north and south sides of the Cloisters. It may surprise you to hear that Wells Cathedral has played a part in film and TV productions, appearing in Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Amongst Thieves, The Huntsman, Winter's War, and Elizabeth, the Golden Age, to name but a few. As we head back into the northern side of the Cloisters, you can imagine Mark Rylance playing Thomas Cromwell in Wolf Hall. Back to reality, and it's now time to enter the Camery Garden. Here you can see the remains of the Roman and Anglo-Saxon buildings that once stood here. You'll also see the remains of the Stillington Chapel, lost to the English Reformation. You'll also see Resurrection by sculptor David Backhouse, a statue of Christ holding his crown of thorns looking up to Wells Cathedral. And finally, a peek through the wall at the end of the garden, and you may well catch a glimpse of St Andrew's Wells. You'll get a better look in our video of the Bishop's Palace and Gardens in Wells. But for now, that's it. Just time to say thanks so much for watching, stay safe, stay well, and happy travels.